This meeting is being recorded.
And then I'll go to Facebook Live.
Okay.
Let me know when that.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Okay. You're both places. All right.
It's on
All
you,
right.
James.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talk's evening edition this Thursday afternoon. And I think the thunderstorm stopped just long enough for us to get this conversation in. So unless we say something wrong and the man upstairs doesn't like it, he'll let us know. But anyway, welcome to Thursday night's edition of the Portsmouth Coffee Talk. And my name is James Lamoton, and I'm here with my co-host, Leo Drake Stitt and Thomas the Colonel Chapman. Hello, co-host.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, how you doing? Are you ready?
We
are
stay
ready.
We have some, I know you stay ready. We have some fantastic guests with us tonight, and in the names of Joe Hansley, and he is of the Joe Lee Hansley Foundation. We have had him on here several times in our other format. He's been my guest over when we were doing and in the studio. We appreciate that. And also along with him, attorney Paige Davis, accomplished attorney, and we'll learn more about her and what she's all about. But first, I'd like to say welcome to the both of you.
Thank you so much
for
having us.
Glad to be here.
Absolutely.
You got the lady in red. I have to add the man in red into the lady and the man in red. It usually go by itself, but I had to add the man in red as well. You all look nice. Thanks for being our guest.
I mean, it's hard. It's Heart Month, so just wanted to wear the red to represent.
Well, you know, I like that part.
Oh my goodness, yes. Dear to
thanks.
James Hart. Dear to James Hart.
Yes. I appreciate you representing there. But anyway, thank you for showing up. For being our guest tonight, this evening. And Joe, let's start with you. You've been our guest several times, and a lot of people know what's going on with you, what you've been doing. So just give us a small summary of a caption of what the foundation is all about, the Joe Lee Hansley Foundation.
First off, like always, I'd like to thank the city of Portsmouth for adopting me. I love the city of Portsmouth. I'm originally from Georgia. I came here, I hit the ground running, and the city just opened their hand, opened their heart, and it's been nothing but love. As far as the foundation is concerned, I just want to do something to give back. And what we do as a foundation, we meet young people where they at, and we get them to where they need to be. We love on them where they at. We don't care about your past. We don't care about what's going on now, what went on. We trying to meet you where you at now and get you to where you need to be. And getting you to where you need to be, that's college, tech school, with a trade, or the military. Or even, for instance, going straight into the workforce to get a job. Like I said, I do it from the heart. I love this. All donations that come to the foundation, it goes back to blessing, uplifting, and motivating young people. I'm blessed to have a wonderful woman, here by my side, but she does phenomenal work in our community. We don't emphasize the importance of our assets when we transition. And what ends up happening is families end up fighting because wills wasn't drawn up and trust wasn't drawn up. And we got to change that narrative. All this will gonna cost X amount of money, but it's gonna save a whole lot. So far as what we do as a foundation and what we want to continuously do, not just in this city, but all across the United States, is bless, motivate, and love on our young people. Meet them to where they at and get them to where they need to be, and letting them see their full potential.
You know what a great combination that the two of you all being together, with you taking the hands of the young people and introducing them to the college life while they are still in high school, and offering those scholarships to help them out once they get to college, and then also starting early, teaching them estate planning, the importance of saving, the importance of taking care and creating that generational wealth if it hadn't already been created for you. And you can't start too soon with that. So I think the coupling of you two and what you've been doing for a long time is a nice combination to help our youngsters, be prepared for what's out there. It's a big, cruel world out there sometimes. And one of the ways to fight that is to be financially stable. And, along with the education that you introduce them to, it's also important to teach them the financial ways of life. So.
Because what ends up happening, and I've had it happen in my family as well, and I want to definitely give Miss Paige an opportunity to share. In my family, like we've had acreage and acreages of land, hundreds of acres of land, and what ends up happening in my situation, I had a family member that passed away, and it was heired property. It was my grandma and grandfather's land. So now it goes to all of my uncles, and it goes to all of, and if my uncles have passed away, now it go to all of his kids.
Yes.
And then, and once it start going all the way down, you can have 0.00007 of acreage of land, but nobody can't do nothing with it. So that's why it's very, very important, man, for us to get wills, for us to get trust. So while we're still alive, we can say, all right, I want this to go, I want this piece of property to go to X. I want this piece of property to go to Y. And that's why it's so important, to get an understanding from people that's professionals like Miss Paige. But I'm telling you from my experience, we've had hundreds of acres of land that amongst my cousins and my uncles, we amongst each other, going at it tooth and nail, how much I got to give you to do this or how much I got to give you to do that. When if it would have been properly drawn up, we wouldn't have to worry about any of that. And then you got family members that don't want nothing to do with it, but at the same time, they don't want to give to you. So, it could really, really be a mess. And to avoid all that, you want to get you a will, you want to get you a trust.
And have that many people involved, to decide on, to agree on one thing is something. But Colonel has a disclaimer to give, and Leah, if you don't mind, after he gives this disclaimer, let the Colonel start off, since this is one of his pets here, generational wealth and being prepared. So, Colonel, after you finish, go ahead and.
Okay, I can whip it out. Okay, so
yes.
For those who are out there in electron lands, the views stated on this program are the host and the guests and not of anybody else. So that keeps us out of Facebook jail, and hopefully there's nobody offended by if I go into a rant here. But so
which you will.
Yeah, but generational wealth and creating wealth is one of my pet peeves, and one of my favorite subject is the business side of growing and the business side of living. And I think, Joe, you talked about the problem with, to make it a simplistic answer to where, people saying, well, okay, so if you have grandma and grandpa died without a will, had 5 kids, so that piece of property is divided up amongst the 5, but kid A had 8 kids, kid B had 8 kids, and C had 8 kids. A, B, and C died, and so it's 8. And so of that 1/5,
it can easily be a mess.
Yes, so it is growing out there, and the problem with that is yes, it is their shares are so divided, and when it comes down to pay the property taxes on said property, nobody's picking up the phone.
That's right. That's right.
And so that's how we lose a lot of, especially in our and for people of color. Usually, we're talking about property here, but say in a home, because usually that's our biggest investment that we have. That's why we see that piece of property is going away for pennies on a dollar for real estate taxes. Did I break that down kind of?
Oh no, you did it perfect, because I've been on both sides of the coin.
Yes.
Right. I've went and did tax sales. That's what it's called. When family members that's paying the taxes is getting tired of paying the taxes and they can't do nothing with it. They can't go get no loan on it. They can't sell it. They can't do nothing without getting all those other 36, 46 people involved in it. So I've been on tax sales where that's been the situation. And I've been in situations like I was just telling you, my family members, that now you got to get all these family members together to be able to come to a conclusion or come to an understanding or a consensus to be able to, move forward with this property. So it ain't gonna continuously be aired property, because that's exactly what it's called, aired property.
Yes. So,
but this is Miss Paige's expertise. So
I was getting ready to get back to a Paige, because one, and the other piece to that is what happens when you can't find XX and X grandchildren, and so the two surviving, say for Joe, you're the you and say your brother, or your sister, or whoever. You got 3 other surviving kids, and we know we got 25, maybe 50 kids out here or grandkids that were on a share or portion of the share. You can't find them. What happens to that if you want to dispose of this property, Paige?
Yeah, so in that case, so first, you want to start, you want to have a will and a trust. You want to start that estate planning process early because of the scenario that you just talked about, where, okay, grandma died without a will or a trust. Now, we got siblings fighting over the house saying, okay, well, I live here and I was close to grandma. No, I was closer to her. And then, with the blended families, that's also an issue, because now it's like, well, even though that's your grandmother, were you by blood, were you a step grandchild? So there's all kind of family situations that are now starting to affect the laws. So in response to your question, so the court is going to tell the attorney or whoever is trying to become the administrator of the estate. So that's what you want to become, is the administrator of the estate. They're going to ask that person to look for all the errors, like you said, because that person, if someone else is entitled and there's someone who's trying to become the administrator, if there is someone else who is entitled, then that person has to make sure that everyone else is waiving their interests. And so you have to certify, even when you file your papers, I have tried my best, to my best knowledge, to locate everyone, and I have to sign as an attorney and say I did my due diligence to search for those people. Now, the court sometimes will say, okay, I believe, there's no other heirs, but they also sometimes, I know like certain states, they have you do a family tree where you have to show, okay, the hierarchy, the grandmother, the grandparents, the kids, all of that. And so if there's a missing, if they look at that family tree and they say, I think that there's more people out there, they will not certify that petition until you go out and find those people. So it really just depends on the court about what they do, but you do have to go out and find everyone who would have an interest, because that they're entitled to that interest, that share. And that is all based on intestate law. So intestate law is when there is no will or trust in place. That's when the laws of the state is going to govern how that person's property is being passed. You don't want that, obviously, because if you have certain wishes, that may not be played out, and the court is going to decide who gets what. It's a huge issue in our community. A lot of times, we think we wait till last minute. And unfortunately, it falls on the family, just like what Joe was saying. Heirs are arguing over property, and people I'm telling you, money will have people act very funny. So,
oh Lord,
so you think that your family's tight and y'all are good, but when it comes to assets being passed down, you will see people really begin to fight. And the other issue is the person who died, you really don't know what they intended, and so that's another issue. I don't know if you guys know Chadwick Boseman, who God rest his soul.
Yes.
He was dear to our community, went to Howard University, just young guy. And he, passed away so unexpected. I'm sure he didn't know that he was going to leave this earth when he did, being so young.
Actually, he didn't know he was dying.
Oh, okay. You said, I'm
he
sorry.
didn't know he was dying.
Okay. So he did know.
Cancer, and he knew he was dying.
Okay. So so the issue that came up with him is that he did not have a will or a trust. And so his family, it took, I think, just recently for them to finally be able to distribute everything, all of his estate, because he didn't have a will or a trust. I believe he had a girlfriend or fiance. I don't think that they were married. That was the issue. So his parents,
Yeah.
or if they were married, I'm sorry, they might have been married, but for whatever reason, he didn't have a will or trust. And
Right.
so the court essentially takes over, and whatever they did, he ended up paying. They paid so much taxes and things. So if he had a trust, that's one thing I want to note, is that if he had a trust, he would have saved a lot of fees and costs that came from probating the estate in court. He had a trust, and I'm sure, depending on the value of the estate, he has spent so much of his estate on fees, attorney's fees, especially because I think it was about a year or two that they were in court. So all of that time paying attorney's fees, and then who knows, he may have wanted everything to go to his wife, but I know that his fiance, but his parents ended up getting something. So, and a lot of the money actually went to the state of California. So it was just, that's just an example of why it's so important to have a trust or will. And, and it's on our community. We know we need to do it, and we put it off. And I know I have elderly clients, and so they understand the importance. But you don't want to wait that long. You want to do it, as early as possible, because you want to help your kids and their kids and everyone. So,
you mentioned Bowman, but he's not the only one. You look at Aretha Franklin, tens of millions of dollars. Still, the estate's still out there, still trying to be adjudicated. Prince died without one. More money than the bank has. And it goes on and on and on. And why? And so we should have that. But by IRS rules, when I look at the difference between, and I want you to explain the difference between a trust and a will. And for, if you pass on, if I have a will, to pass on whatever financial benefits to my heirs or to the heirs, what is the cap where it passes on tax-free by IRS rules in 2022?
Okay, good, very great question. So I'm not a tax attorney. I have done some tax in the past, but as far as estate planning, we tend not to want to, say too much about taxes. But there are exemptions. I know there's like a gift exemption of, I think it's $15,000.
$15,000.
Yeah. Now for estates, it's usually pretty high as far as. Oh, I'm sorry. What's that? Oh, per year. Yes. Yep. Yeah, per year. But it changes every year. And then the state value is usually pretty high. So most people's estate really won't be taxed. Usually, it's more so the fees that go to probate, which is what I'll get into that now, about the difference between a will and a trust. So a trust is essentially a document. It's a document that has to be funded with your assets. So a trust is different from a will because it is a legal document, but it's not just a document because you have to actually have your assets transferred into the trust. One of the benefits is during your lifetime, when you have a trust, you can still manage the assets in the trust, but also when you pass, your heirs do not have to go to court. Now, that's very important because a lot of times courts can be very messy. It can take longer for your heirs to inherit if they have to probate what they would have to do with a will. So with a will, you have to go to probate. That means the court has to go and open up the estate and decide, okay, these are the assets. Let me look at the will. Are there any issues, any errors? This is a document that's not private. A trust is private. It allows the parties to keep it within themselves, and they don't have to probate, no attorneys, and that is it. Those are the main differences. Now, with a will, it is straightforward. So a lot of times, if you don't have like real property and you just have a few assets, you may not want to do a trust, simply because a trust is something that, you're going to be putting assets into it. So if you, and depending on where you are in life, you may want to do a trust because you'll acquire assets. So a revocable trust allows you to add assets throughout your lifetime.
And how about the difference between, when you talk about trust, irrevocable versus the types of trust?
Great question. So I do both. So with a irrevocable, this is something that I recommend to older people who say you want to qualify for Medicaid or Medicare. and you realize, okay, I have all these assets, but they have a spin down provision. Now with that spin down, anytime you put assets into your trust, they basically do not qualify. They do not count those assets. They're only going to qualify you for the amount that is outside the trust. So with the irrevocable, you cannot terminate it. Once the assets are into the trust, that's it. It does not terminate. It is irrevocable, meaning you cannot make any changes to it. And it's really good also for creditors, all kinds of reasons where basically you as a grantor would be saying, I do not have access to these assets. So creditors cannot reach them, Medicare, Medicaid, really. But here's the trick. You have to do it before 5 years because there's a 5-year look back. So some people come and they're like, well, I want to do this, but I'm planning to apply now. It's like, no, it's a 5-year look back. So you have to make sure you do it within that time frame, because they're going to look and say, has it been 5 years? If not, they will not really consider that trust. They will still count your assets. Now with a revocable trust, that is for someone who plans to still accumulate assets and they want to be able to make changes to that trust. So say you have a house. You may say, okay, now I want to get rental properties. Well, I would say a revocable trust because you want to still add assets to the trust. The other part of the revocable trust is that you can have more control over, taking assets in and out of the trust, and it's just more flexible. So I would say that's definitely an advantage of that one.
Yeah, I have one more question because I hate to try to to dominate this conversation, but
oh no, you're fine. Please ask away.
Yeah. So when I do my will or trust, and then I also have say if you have your mutual funds and either accounts, and on the beneficiaries listed on there on those accounts, is it true that it doesn't? The will does not have anything to do if I have on this mutual fund or this bank account that say I have Joe is my beneficiary and the trust and everything else is going to you, and you wanted to get whatever. They're not linked. The will does not supersede what is written on the insurance policy as a beneficiary, as an example.
Right, that is correct. You want to make sure that all of your estate planning documents are aligned. So for like insurance beneficiaries or life, anything like that, you want to make sure that it's just the same beneficiaries, or whoever you designate on your policies. That should be something that you do separate, because the will not trump that. So right. That's a different scenario. Yes. And the same goes for the trust. Yeah. Okay. So whoever you designate, that's it. You can have different people in your trust or will versus your beneficiary on your policy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you through, Colonel?
Yeah, I got more.
Well, Paige and Joe, I am truly happy that you both chose to come on today, and I can identify in both arenas, because in Joe's arena, my grandmother in Georgia left a lot of land, and now there are a whole lot of grand, a whole lot of great grand, and they're trying to get people to pay their portion for the heir property, and it has really created quite a bit of mess within the family. And on the other end, I had a brother who passed and did not have a will. And it meant people who had not been engaged in his life at all showed up. And then that caused a lot of problems as well. So it's important to make sure that everyone listening get their papers in order now. Don't wait. You say you're going to do it later. You need to do it now. And not only do you need to have all your papers in order, you need to tell people where they can find these things. Because so often I'm talking to friends who having to search throughout the house, trying to find documents, trying to find, wills, trying to find papers, but they haven't been told where these items are. So I'm thankful that both of you are on and you're sharing this information. And as Eric Perriman said, he says, good stuff that you all are sharing. And it is information that we need to spread in our community. Now, Paige, is this a part of Joe Hansley's foundation? Is your Is the estate a part of the foundation? Is that separate from the foundation? I know you two are together now, but still, is that a part of Joe Hansley's foundation?
No, ma'am. So I started, so my firm is called the Law Office of Paige Davis. And I started about a year ago. I've been an attorney for about 5 years. So we just happened to, we met, and I love the work that he does. I've always kind of mentored a lot of young people. So that's one of the things I do on the side is I mentor. I didn't see people like me growing up. So for me, I love the work that he does because I get to kind of reach young people, tell them I'm an attorney, especially young girls who could be going through all kinds of things. And I see myself in them so much. So for me, I'm able to give back through him. And I just love to serve. So you'll see me everywhere, but I'm really an attorney, but I love to serve. And so Joe does as well. So I love working with him, but I have an office. I have a website, the law office of PaigeDavis.com, and you guys can always contact me on there. Follow me on Instagram, Paige_ESQ. And you want to tell me your Instagram?
Oh yeah, Joe Lee Hansley Instagram, Joe Lee Hansley Foundation. Yeah.
Okay, Joe, we dealt with this state stuff, and it's great, and we're gonna come back to it. But I'm also, just as that is important to us and our community, what you're doing is extremely important to us and our community, because I'm a firm believer that our kids need exposure. And that has been the problem with our kids, is that they have not been exposed to anything. Only thing that they know about is what is within their immediate circle. And they may know about Norfolk State, they may know about Hampton University, but they don't know about all of the other institutions that are out there where they can get a quality education. So I'm thankful that you take the young people to the various campuses to expose them to what is available to them. You're going to share about some of the trips. I've talked to young people who've been on trips with you, and I've talked to the parents of young kids who've been on trips with you, and they say that each time it has been an amazing adventure for them. So how do you select your kids, and when do you select your kids? And if there's a child who's interested, how can a child apply to go to those events?
Wow, ooh, that's a loaded 5 or 6 questions. But no, I mean, it's all first come, first serve. And we just love the babies. Like I said, we meet them where they at, get them where they need to be. We don't care we don't care about your past. We want you to get on the campus so you can see.
I can't, I'm having difficulty hearing you. So
okay. So so what we want to meet the young people where they at so we can get them to where they need to be. And far as the experience, we want to give them an experience of a lifetime. We've had young people, we going through the tunnel, and unless you're going through Suffolk,
they don't know.
These kids was asking, what is this when we going through a tunnel? These ain't no little bitty babies. These middle and high schools, not even knowing what the tunnel is. In 3 or 4 ways to get out of the city, you got to go through a tunnel. And these kids haven't even been exposed to even knowing what a tunnel is. So what we try to do is give them an experience of a lifetime, and we want them to really, really enjoy it. So we don't want to have them in a rinky-dink hotel. You know what I mean? We want to make sure they're in a nice hotel. We want to make sure they're in their own bed. We want to make sure they get some very nice meals. We want to give them an experience. We want them to see what Greek life is about. We want men to come and do step shows. We want to go when it's an open house, so they can get the full experience of that college. We want to be able to get them. We want to be able to get the relationships we built with coaches to come out and tell them. Get experience of the coaches going on the college campuses, to go to their stadiums, going to their, gymnasiums and stuff like that. So that's why they really, really enjoy it. But the most importantly, and why they really, really enjoy it so much, our scholarship recipients usually are at these universities. And instead of getting just a tour of a kid that's just there making some money in the summer, they're getting an experience from a kid that's from where they're from, that's been where they at right now, and they really, really enjoying the college experience. So like, of all the schools that we went to for spring break, and we went to 9, they really like North Carolina A&T the most.
My granddaughter, my daughter, Aggie Pride.
That's exactly.
Hey,
they was screaming that all throughout the whole campus. Aggie, and then everybody else to say Pride. But I mean, we went to like 9 different colleges, but it was like 4 or 5 scholarship recipients that was there, and they was able to explain their experience. And some of those kids was from Chesapeake, Norfolk, 2 of them was from in Portsmouth. So they was able to get the experience, not just from somebody, like I said, that's there for the summer or there for spring break to get a paycheck. They there from somebody that looked like them and also been where they've been a couple of years removed.
How do they apply, Joe? How do they apply?
So like I said, it's always first come, first serve. You can follow our Facebook page, follow our Instagram page, and we usually work with the guidance counselors. So all the guidance counselors in Portsmouth, you can reach out to the guidance counselors that's in Portsmouth. We work with them to figure out what kids want to go. So when we go into North Carolina A&T, and when we go into Howard University or Virginia Tech, University of North Carolina, all these different colleges, Morehouse, Spelman, we getting the input from the babies. And the sad thing is a lot of them don't know, like other than like what you said, like Norfolk State, the places that's right here. But you would get a kid that want to be a forensic scientist and not even and talking about schools that don't even have a forensic science program. So we got to critique the kids and get them to understand, it's more than just going to a school. You got to make sure that school got your major,
exactly,
and things like that. So that's why we try to, when we say meet them where they at, we understand that mom probably ain't never been to college. That's where we want to step in, and we want to help and mold you and get you the way you need to be. That's if you want to be a forensic scientist, if you want to be a nurse, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a biologist, whatever it is that you want to do. If you want to be an electrician, if you want to be a plumber, because we have the Boys to Men mentoring program where we have people come in that are plumbers, that are electricians. And we had a plumber to come in, talk to the young people, say he made $150,000 a year. I had already had a conversation with him, but $150,000 is going to get some people to get their eyes open, right? I was like, all right, you got to show me the paperwork. I don't see it. But then when I had a plumber come to my house and 15 minutes later, he give me a bill for $250, $300. I see where that $150,000 come in.
And where's the mentoring program taking place?
That is a very great question. It is in the schools. Like I said, it's Boys to Men mentoring program. We are at Norcom. We are at Craddock Middle. The majority, like all of the middle schools and high schools, for the most part, we are there. We meet once a month, or we meet twice a month. The COVID has staggered that a little bit, so we really haven't been able to do how we usually do it for the last 2 years. But far as how we meet twice a month, and when we meet, we'll do an activity. So if we bring an electrician in at the end of the month, we'll bring, we'll figure out how to do an extension cord, right? For the activity. Me being an electrician, I can do the extension cord, and then they get to actually see something that they've made. They get to plug it into the outlet. I'll do it first because they'll be scared, like, nah, that's all we gotta do. And this is an extension cord that actually work. So they get to actually see exactly what it is that we're doing. We had financial advisors come in, and we had them they offered to give stocks to like Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway is Warren Buffett's business.
Right.
So like they give the kids a certain amount of money, $100,000, $200,000 of make-believe money. But at the same time, they gotta take that $100,000, and whoever raised the most money, that's who they giving the share of Berkshire Hathaway, or the $500 gift card, or $100 gift card, whatever it is, and it depends on what business we're working with at the time. But it's financial advisors that want to come and talk all the time. You've got senior vice. It's people that want to help, but they can't make an approach like me and a Paige make, or you, Mr. James, or nobody that look like us. But it's people that want to give, and they reach out to me to try and figure out what's ways to be able to do it. But I mean, it's senior business owners that want to come and figure out how can they help with Portsmouth and everything that's going on in Portsmouth. This ain't, if we had an answer, we wouldn't be in the situation that
exactly.
But I know that it's going to take a collaborative approach. It's not just going to take the sheriff department, Miss Stiff. It's not just going to take the police department. We ain't going to be able to arrest our way out of it. And churches get a bad rap, but I mean, if the kids ain't going to the church,
They don't go to
you
church
know what I'm
anymore.
saying? It's right. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it's just got to be a collaborative effort where, all right, we got some facilities that's at the church. You know, we got some programs over here. You know what I mean? It's going to take a collaborative effort. We're going to need medical professionals
Mhm.
to come in to deal with the mental health stuff that's going on, because we partner with Tidewater Friends of Foster Care, and God bless the young people, but they've been dealing with a lot,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So that wasn't that wasn't a trip like the trip when we went to spring break. You know, you can tell they had a lot more needs. I mean, they was loving babies, you know, but they just need to be loved on. You know, like we've had kids that had a 1.9, definitely not condoning a 1.9, but you know, we able to mentor them, love on them, and now they in their senior year with a 3.7 and thriving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you can get a kid out of the situation that they're in and get them to believing, that's really what it's all about. Getting them to believing, getting them to seeing. You know, I want to be, if I'm a female, like if my daughters wanted to be a lawyer and they can see that Miss Paige here, and not just a lawyer, been a lawyer for 5 years and here to mentor you. I want to help you. I want to help you get to where I'm at. Matter of fact, I want you to be better than me. That's what we want to build. We want to build kids that's going off to college, not just here go this check, but here go this check. But while you're going to the school, we've got somebody that's already did what you're doing, and we want you to connect with them so you can continuously do it and help you get there, because you know the road to success is always under construction. That's what we always tell our young people. You know, the road to success is always under construction. You know, and pressure bust pipes. Well, if you don't have a relief valve, you know what I mean, it can bust you, it can break you.
Exactly.
So what you got to do is have the right mentors. And I got mentors for everything. I got a financial mentor, I got a spiritual mentor. Like you got to have mentor. Like whenever those stressors come in, you got to have somebody that you can talk to help you talk through it, that's done been through it. You know, and if you're the smartest one in your room, the smartest one in your circle, you need to expand your circle.
Expand your circle.
But
Joe, let me
and I hope I answered.
Joe, can I get in? And Leah, can I get in there for
I
a
was saying,
minute?
look like you have a question.
Yeah, just wanted to say I'm glad you we talk about exposure. I'm glad you're taking them to those and the PWIs and giving them a chance to go on those campuses. You know, because they might stop at one campus and say this is for me, but the next one, which might be Virginia Union, they might stop there and find out that that this is the best college for them. So I appreciate that. But I want to ask you this: Do you also talk to them in your mentoring classes about the route of the military, because that's also an avenue for completing your or getting your education for those people that might not get a scholarship, but they can go by way of the military and get their education and not have that bill at the end of their education. So is military, the option of military discussed as far as serving your country and completing your education as well?
Absolutely. I'm a product of the United States Navy, and I'm telling you, everything I am and everything I probably will be, I credit to the U.S. Navy. Like my degrees, mentally, like, and why I'm motivated to do this, mentally, I didn't think it was possible for me to go to college, right? I was a first generation high school student. I was the first generation college student. But I ended up going into the military, and the military changed my life. I'm from Hazelhurst, Georgia. People might think, oh, small country bunking town. But we had issues similar to Portsmouth issues. And if you don't have the right mentor, and that's why I say I had a mentor for every situation, because if you don't have the right mentors, the wrong mentors will eventually just pop up. And what do I mean by that? When you look into when you say you in Dale's Homes, but you don't see a Joe Hansley or you don't see a James Overton in Dale's home, all you see is the dude that's selling drugs and that's riding in this nice car, right? You're gonna gravitate toward that. I'm telling you what the kids experiencing because I experienced it. You're gonna gravitate toward what you see. And what ended up happening when I graduated, it was multiple people that had sale charges. Sale charges is attempt to distribute You know, Miss Stiff, you work at the sheriff department, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But we graduated with 166 people. 66 was of color. 25 of them had warrants out for their arrest. For cell charge. Like that was the motivation that I needed to know, that I'm trying to get as far away from the place that I was at as possible. So what I'm telling you is you can be a product of your environment. And if you ain't around the right people, even though you're a good person, you can make the wrong decisions and it can end up changing your life.
Yes.
So I said all that to say that. So I guess why I'm motivated to do it is just because, man, God has really, really blessed me, and I just want to pay it forward. That's the correct answer. And that's like when I say the 25 people had the cell charges, like one of them was my brother, you know, and it was crazy because we was getting ready to go out, you know, out for the night for that weekend, and you know, I don't think I ever told nobody this, so I'm getting goosebumps. But you know, what ended up happening, we was going out for the night. I was already ready, and my brother was waiting to serve this person, and the person ended up being the police that all those 25 people that had the cell charges. This was the person that was busting all those people, right? And what ended up happening, I was like, all right, I'm already ready. You know what I mean, you give it to me whenever you come, I'll just go ahead, do this. He was like, nope, you're not gonna do it. You're playing football, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're on the right path. But that could have been one thing that happened that could have messed my life completely up.
Indeed.
You know,
Indeed.
and I'm when I say I'm grateful to God, it was situations like that where God stepped in and said, no, you're not gonna do that and make this dumb decision. And like I ended up, I think I was already in like the delayed entry program. So I was already going to the military, and I was still playing football because I ended up going into the delayed entry program like a year early. You know, I knew that I wanted to get out of Hazers, just because of everything that was going on with it. But I mean, it was just crazy. And like I said, God is good, and God gets all the honor, glory, and praise, because I don't look like what I've been through. And if it was one situation, that one situation could have been a negative situation that could have put me in the same situation. Like cousins that I got cousins that's doing 15 years that just did 15 years in prison. I got another cousin that what people would call the big homie. That's the gangbang of gangbangers, but he know now, you know what I mean, through me, they're able to live through me, right? And I love to be that influence, that positive influence, to love on and uplift not just the Portsmouth community, but our community. And that's what the motivation was for starting this whole thing. Like, all right, I can go back to Hazers. No, you ain't got to look up to the dope dudes. You ain't got to look up to the dudes that's selling drugs. I don't make a whole lot of money. I'm not no NBA player. I'm not no NFL player, but I'm coming back and I want to give back and I want to pay it forward. Not for no reason other than just to let you know that I love you. I appreciate you. Like every time I talk to a young person, you know, I hug them. I tell them I love them. Right? It was one kid that I got kicked out of school in Newport News. He had got kicked out of school in Newport News. I met him at Norcom because he was at Norcom now. And we had a conversation, and he went to telling me about, you know, how he's now at Norcom. He don't know nobody. But the conversation, at the end of the conversation, though, I hugged him and told him that I loved him. And he said, man, ain't never told me he loved me before. You know, this was prior to us going to Memphis. When we went to Memphis, it was a group of kids from here that when we went to Memphis, and he wasn't able to go because of all the red tape. You know, and all the red tape meaning he was still Child Protective Services. So that year he wasn't able to go, but we was able to mentor him that whole year, start building relationships with the Child Protective Services, right? The next year we went to Washington, D.C. We went to 6 colleges in that area, with Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, and he ended up going to Morgan State, you know, and now he's at a 3-point, you know what I mean? So just loving on young people and meeting them where they at. That's what a lot of them need. And they need the tough love. You know, they need the, all right, I ain't gonna let you settle. Pull your pants up. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you to pull the pants up because I love you. You know what I mean? just say if I got you with me and we go into a business meeting, do you think that this will be professional? You know what I mean? I let them answer their own questions, you know, and get them to see in the light. But I don't want to take up too much of the time.
But you know what?
Just know that God has been really, really good to me, and in turn, I want to pay it forward. Because if I could, I did so many dumb things, and all it would have taken was that one dumb thing.
That's it, one thing.
I could be in a total different situation. So I want to tell that young person that's out doing the dumb things that you can stop at any time, right? You just need the right mentor. The same mindset you got about there selling drugs, you can have that. You can bring that same mindset to buying stocks. You can flip stocks. You can buy stock. You can spend the re-up money that you finna re-up to go and buy dope. You can buy some stocks. You know, now you can the stock can rise, and now you can flip it. You can sell that, now go get you some more. So the same mentality that a lot of these kids that see the wrong people and idolize the wrong people, they can use and turn that into a positive light. And now you can go into business and get, you know. So we just try to, like I said, when we saying we meeting kids where they at and get them to where they need to be, we listening to them talk about these things. You know what I mean? Why am I going to go to school, or why am I going to go to McDonald's? I had a kid tell me, why am I going to go to McDonald's for $10 to $12 an hour when I can get $40, $50 an hour out here? Because you can die. You know what I mean? You got to keep looking over your shoulders. That's why you go. That's why you finna go and get it. Right. But I can tell you, if you do the right thing now, your life will be easy. You know what I mean? Like doing what's hard, your life will be easy. But if you try to do what's easy, your life will be hard. What do you mean by that? If I do what's hard, which is go to college, not saying if you do go to college, you're gonna get this magnificent job, because that's not the case. You know what I mean? You get the education, you still gotta want to work, right? But it's gonna put your family in a better situation to make more money longevity wise, right? Or if you go get and you ain't got to go to college, you can go get a trade. I just talked about the dude that came and said he made $150 an hour, right? I mean, I always tell this story. Some might think it's corny, some might think it's cliche, but a plumber came over to a doctor's house, right? And the doctor toilet wasn't working, or whatever the case may be, right? He goes into the toilet. 10 minutes later, he fix it and give him a bill for $250. 10 minutes. 10 minutes is all it took, right? So he fixed the toilet. He going out because it wasn't just a toilet. It was a pipe that was bust, so he had to fix it. But anyway, it was $250, right? After 10 minutes. So the plumber took the check and was walking out the door, right? And the doctor was like, "Man, hold up, that's $2,500 an hour." Or that, you know what I mean? 2,000, however much it was, that's that much an hour. He said he don't make that much. $50
an hour. Wow.
Right. So the plumber looked back and said, "When I was a doctor, I didn't make that either."
Oh,
right? So he was a doctor, but he turned around and going to be a plumber now. And now he's a lucrative job. So I say that to say, everybody ain't college material, right? So you can go and be a plumber, you can go and be an electrician, you can go and be, and it's so short right now. If you get a plumber, if you get an electrician, they might charge you $200 just to come out and look at it. Not even to fix it, but just $200 to come and look at it. You know, and now you're gonna have to pay another $100, $200. AC&R techs, all of this stuff. We need these. We need to advocate for these. We got school board members that's advocating for it, you know, to get a lot of this stuff in the schools, so kids can be ready to go into the workforce. You know what I mean? I applaud all of that stuff, because all of that's needed. Everybody ain't college material.
We definitely need vocational schools, and we need vocational schools to teach more than nail tech, hair, and barbering. Those are great professions. Now, I'm not taking it from any of them, but we need vocational techs that teach more programs. Brick masonry, small engine repair. There's so many other things that they can learn that would be beneficial to them once they get out of school. And I think too, it would engage the kids more in their academics if they were doing something that they can see an end result with, you know?
Right. And I think what's really going to help us is I think the business owners are engaged as well, right? Because they the ones that need these electricians. They the ones that need these plumbers. So what I think we're going to have to do is partner with a lot of these businesses to come in and do the training. Because even if they certify them, they train them. So if whatever business, whatever engineering business need plumbers, and they bring in some plumbers to do some training at Norcom or Churchland or Manor, right? If they come in and train and able to train those kids, say over a program of 5 to 6 weeks, if I've trained them and it's my business, I'm finna employ them.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so it could be a situation where we're able to do some things like that. And I've talked to business people that's trying to figure out how we can get more plumbers, electricians, welders, you know, that they need, and it's a short of. So I've approached them with doing training, you know, to get them to get them ready, like in a entry level, you know. So it's going to take a collaborative effort, right? It's going to take the police sheriff department. It's going to take the church. It's going to take organizations like the Joe Lee Hansley Foundation and other organizations that's in the city that's doing stuff. And it's also going to take medical, you know what I mean? It's going because these kids are dealing with a lot. Like, man, you got, I mean, I can only imagine, you know what I mean? You got girls that's getting raped, you getting kids that's getting abused, you know, you getting kids that haven't ate. How can I focus on school when I got all these other stressors that's going on? And that's what's going on with these babies, man. And, you know, your mom died, or, you know what I mean? Like, just processing, these kids are processing a lot. So it's going to take a collaborative effort, and just to get them to the right mental state, right?
And Joe, let me say this. Don't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to get in there and say that even with the schools like that where they're teaching a skill, we also have to make sure, you know, some of the students might think, okay, well, all I have to do is learn plumbing. These days, you have to learn that skill, but you still have to be proficient in that math and that geometry, because everything, even plumbing, is technical now. You know, you have to be proficient in that, and even learning another language if you're going to interact with people. So you can't, you know, say, well, I'll go into this field thinking that you're going to avoid those classes such as algebra and math and geometry. Because I remember we were in school, we were trying to figure out, where am I going to use algebra and geometry or diagramming sentences in my life? But once you get older, you realize some of that stuff that you learned, that basic stuff you needed, you know. So, but, you know, and that's one of the things I hope people don't get lost, or students get lost and think they're dodging some of the traditional classes so they can go with that skill. That skill is giving you something that you can do immediately, but you still have to have those basic fundamental classes, you know. And I wanted to just say this, since we, and I'll just slip this in, since we talked about HBCUs again. I think, Paige, you went to the real HU.
The real HU. Yes, I'm Hamptonian. The real HU, Hampton University.
Yeah, so did the Colonel, even though he's sporting the NSU hat, but he's a graduate of both of those and some other colleges as well. Leah represents Norfolk State.
Behold the green and gold.
So, you know, we sort of favor the HBCUs, but we just want them to go to college, whatever's comfortable.
Exactly.
But please expose them to the HBCUs, because they don't know that what they might be missing in that campus life.
Oh, most definitely.
They need to go where they can get some money. That's what I would tell them.
Yeah, go where you can get some money.
All the degrees I got, I'm like, listen, if I would do it all over, I would have spent more time. Where can I get some money for school? Because I was so sold on HBCUs, but now I'm like, I'm glad I got the experience. I still love Hampton so much, and I wouldn't change anything. I just think I would have at least negotiated or told them, like, listen, I'm a straight A student. I deserve to be here, and I did get a scholarship. But I think there's so much money out there, so that would be my advice. Like, really do your research, and tell them kind of like long term. They don't want to be paying off debt when they get their first job and stuff like that. So I think financial literacy is going to be a good component to add to the chores that we do and other things that he does as well.
Exactly.
And Paige, I think you also can tell students that your first choice doesn't always have to be your lifelong choice. I mean, you started out teaching, right?
Yeah. Well,
and what
teach from America.
What made you to shift sort of to go into law? Because or was that a plan all along? Because students, students now don't stay 30 and 40 years in one job. They tend to switch. So what sort of
question. So I've done so many things, but so it was always my lifelong goal was to go to law school. So for me, I always wanted to make a difference, and a lot of people who I looked up to had law degrees. I've always been very connected to social advocacy, social justice. So for me, it was always a plan. But my senior year, I got accepted to Teach for America, which is like a 2-year program where you go and teach in an inner city school. And for me, I'd always worked with kids. Like in the summers, I worked at like summer camps. So I was always working with kids, and I was like, okay, this gives me 2 years to take a break from school and then also make a difference and go into the communities and give back. And when I tell you it was a life-changing decision to go and do Teach for America, the classroom is way harder than the courtroom. I don't care what anybody says. When I tell you, I literally had days I was like, Lord, you're going to have to help me. Like, no, not some days, every day. Every day I had to go in there, prayed up, and just asking for strength because I had pre-K. Y'all might think they so like, oh, no, it was a lot. And my hat goes off to parents and administrators and schools. Like, I just know how hard it is, but the love every day was just such an amazing experience. But those are the beginning years, and kids really need that foundation. And so pre-K, early childhood is where I actually have my master's in that. And so I've always kind of worked in education. Prior to my law firm, I actually worked for the school district of New York, defending the school district. And now I do help some parents against the school district in their locality. So,
just like Joe said earlier, the road to success is always under construction. So, where you start might not always be where you end up. So,
and James, when I met Miss Paige, I found out that we have, the world is just getting so much smaller than you could ever imagine. Because I found that one of the young men who I helped to mentor and help to raise is her family member.
Yeah.
And he has been on our show, Mr. Jovan Fuller.
Yeah.
So I said, wow. I said, this is just too much, So we
know what, Leah?
A connection there.
Leah, I have to say this to you. Just yesterday, I put up a post, promoting our show, and I was describing each of the co-hosts, and when I got to you, I said, well, when you watch our show, Leah is very knowledgeable about many subjects, and she has the gift of gab, and another thing, she knows just about everybody. It's going to be in any of our guests come on, it's going to be some connection, and you did it today.
But I'm thankful for that connection, and not only that, she went to law school with Christian Hawthorne, who is a Normal graduate. So
I'm sure if you Paige, I'm sure if you keep talking to Leah, you're gonna find out you're related, first cousin.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But we can get briefly back to the subject. I just wanted to throw that in. And Leah, thanks for making what I said yesterday true.
It happened. It does.
Anyway, Colonel, I didn't know if you had something.
We talked about a plethora of subjects and stuff. I think Joe talked about one by the kids not having eaten and being in the classroom, but it also boils down to, and we also talked about having VOTEC in high school and whatever. But it also, when you talk about putting that holistic approach to getting kids through these programs, and college is not for everybody, it goes back to policies that are out there. And I saw an article that was published just recently talking about the number of children graduating high school today are starting to look at saying college is not worth it because of the cost. And cost benefit for what I'm going to make when I get out of school. But I beg the difference that it's not going to be worth it. You either go to college, go in the military, or you go in a VOTEC program and do one of these other programs, because that's what they want you to think, and to keep you uneducated and to stay home. And if you're uneducated, you won't vote. And that's how people stay in power, especially those who in power that I know you're wearing red, but they wear red hats all the time.
Right.
I call them Confederates.
I knew it had to come in. I was just waiting for it. I couldn't. I didn't believe that we can make a whole hour of a show and it not show up.
Leah, that was my description of him yesterday.
The Colonel.
I told him the Colonel will always bring politics into whatever we talk about, which politics is a part of everything we do.
It is. It really is.
Because, you know, we have politicians that talk about we're going to run these programs, we're going to fully fund education, and we're going to have run VOTEC programs back into the high schools. And what they run back to the high schools is how to do nails, haircut, and whatever.
Got to get beyond that.
Yeah, and you have to think of beyond that, and
That's
they're not
right.
doing the people any justice when that's your scope of VOTEC, is to teach me how to be a barber. You don't teach, you know, you can teach how to AC repairman or woman or whatever. Or I look at my wife, she went through in the old NOCRM program, they had an LPN program there. Bam. And then fast forward, this is way back when, I didn't tell you how many years or decades have gone by, but now she's
40.
Thereabout. I'm not gonna get in trouble, Slim. But you know, she's a OBGYN nurse practitioner with a couple masters and stuff. So that is where you start, does not indicate where you're going to finish. Just like Paige was in education, now she's an attorney. Where she started, she had a love for education, but even though in the back mind, she's got to her dream of that. Joe talked about earlier about joining the military. And I also joined out of high school also. And I will tell you, for one, and you talked about your brother, I will always say that everybody is 3 minutes away of having something happen or being somewhere that could have changed our lives forever. And there are, you know, and there's no holier than thou kind of thing, because you just never know. Even if you were completely innocent, if you're hanging around with the wrong person, something can get you swept up in it and change your life forever. And all you need is that one felony that Joe was talking about, and that changed your life forever, because forever you have a felony on it, and you go in to apply for a job, they do the click, click, click. It shows you a felony, and you can't get that federal job. You can't get that state. You can't do this. You can't do that. Then what are you going to do? You go back on the corner and sling. And then you're just waiting for that one time to do time down in county or in the state jail system, and then you're basically old and done. And then so I just had to get that piece out. But it's all about policies and that educational piece. But Paige also talked about that, and I'm gonna get this running. I got the floor here. Talked about education. People don't know, just the Army itself spends $330 million in education for scholarships every year.
So that's I'm glad you brought that up. So we went to Morgan State, and we was able to see the recruit coordinator that was at Morgan State. That was the Army guy. That was the Army ROTC there. And he was talking about just that. You know, he was talking about all the money that's available. So we want to be able to get out. We want our young people to go to college and not be in debt. Like, that's why we teach, you know, apply for these scholarships, even if you don't think that you're going to get them. You know, it's very, very important to apply, even if you don't think you're going to get them. But that is a great avenue, ROTC, to leave college and be debt free. You know, you might have to commit 5-6 years to the military after you're done, but it's worth it, you know, because of the training that you're getting while you're in you know, the networking that you're going to get while you're in, you know, the millions and millions of dollars of equipment that you're going to be, you know, working on. You ain't going to get that coming straight out of college.
Yeah.
They ain't finna let you work on no multi-million-dollar generator. I'm fresh out of boot camp. You know, I go to A school and I'm working on a generator. You know, I'm shutting down a generator, cleaning it. I'm shutting down load centers, cleaning it. I'm shutting down power panels, cleaning it. You know, as a 19, 20-year-old kid, you ain't gonna get that after graduating high school, working on multi-million-dollar equipment, you know, that can be the life or death of, you know, 6,000-7,000 people if it ain't done right. You know, so military is a great option. Like I said, I got zero complaints. I mean, I love it. I wouldn't change anything. And that ain't even counting all the places that I've seen. You know, I done been to South America. We did a North Atlantic Unitas. You know, I'm in Verona, Bologna. You know, I mean, we in Europe. So we're in Europe, we're in South America, North America, and we was doing that North Atlantic Unitas. And the North Atlantic Unitas is when you, you know, attacking like drug ships. You know what I mean? You going, you seizing the drug ship. You know what I mean? That was some fun stuff. You know, but we was able to stop at different places like Venezuela. You know, we went to Uruguay, we went to Brazil. You know, so the Navy is, like I said, everything I am and everything I probably will be, I owe a lot of that credit to the Navy.
So I'm gonna get back to the Army since you mentioned.
I love it. I love it. Any branch though, any branch. I say all that to say any branch, as long as you getting out of Portsmouth, as long as you getting out of, you know what I mean, wherever you at, as long as you getting out of Norfolk, as long as you getting out of Hampton, you know, in your environment, and then you can build yourself up.
Yes.
And now you can come back and now you can give back in a positive way.
Yes.
You know?
Well,
and that's
Morgan State. The Army Surgeon General, Scott Dingle, is a Morgan State grad.
Wow.
3-star. I served with him. Great guy. The president of Hampton University, Lieutenant General Williams, just retired from the military. He's a logistics guy. He ran the logistics corps. Wow. And so where you start as a second lieutenant way back when doesn't dictate where you finish. I went in as a dental technician, wanted to be a dentist, but I ended up being a critical care nurse and retired as an 06.
Wow.
Where I started don't dictate where I finish.
That's right.
So,
and that's what the kids need to hear.
That's true. Life is long, you know, the journey. You can do anything. I say just follow. I mean, for me, I took a lot of risks because I really didn't think hard about a lot of things. But I always believed in myself. And I think that's something we got to get kids to understand their confidence. But I had my mom who always pushed me, like, whatever you want to do, just do it. And I think when you give kids, you kind of don't narrow them into a box, but allow them to figure out who they are and like do their own path, they're going to choose what's right for them ultimately. But they may take some curves and see like, okay, this isn't for me, or I like this. Because I've taken some curves or detours, I should say, where I was in law, but I started out at a tax accounting firm in New York. And so I didn't know anything about accounting. So I found myself a job. Sometimes I knew God had opened the door, but sometimes I didn't really know why I was there. And then later I would learn, okay, he wanted me exposed to this. Now I know a little bit about this. I know a little bit about that. So I say just life is a journey. And I think the more open you are to opportunities, the more God can really bless you, because you just never know what he has for you, whether it's the city. I've lived in New York, DC. Now I'm here transitioning slowly to Portsmouth or this area soon. But how Joe and I met was actually in DC. And so, and I've always just been open. Again, I've just been open-minded because you just never know. I meet a lot of people actually who are stuck sometimes. And my biggest advice is like, you can't always play it safe. You have to walk by faith. You got to just trust your gut. If you have a good feeling about something, it may not always make sense to people. Even me, I left a job to start my firm. And my mom and people in my family was like, what? You got all these benefits and you making, this 6-figure salary and all these things. And for me, I knew that I knew I was called to be an entrepreneur. And for me, it was really about being able to give back and work with clients who look like me, clients who I knew I could serve directly, not go through a partner, and people really who could afford me. So I knew I had been called to be an entrepreneur. And God still may call me to work again. But right now I'm doing this full time. But all that to say is that I took that leap of faith, and it has been one of the best decisions I've ever made, was to work for myself. I love the flexibility where I can have time. I love being able to work hard, work smarter, not harder. And I make the amount that I was making really is not, when I think about how many hours I was working, 40 hours a week. Now I work smarter. So it's like you can still have a lucrative career as an entrepreneur, and you work less hours. And so for me, that's important because I've always been someone who's been well-rounded. So I want to have time to spend with my family. I want to have time to just live life. So I know my needs, everybody's different, but I think you have to know yourself. But to me, life is a journey. And I think it's more important about becoming the right person versus just saying, I want to go work at a job or I want to go make money. But who are you becoming in the process? Who are you developing into? For me, everything I've done, I've tried to align with my purpose. I think purpose is key. And so I would tell people, don't worry about the money. If you really are operating in your gift, your gift will open the right doors. The money will come. So you have to work hard. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to really just trust God, and what He asks for you is for you. And you got to walk by faith because it's not easy. The journey is not always going to look like step A, B, and C. Sometimes you're going to figure it out along the way, and that's okay. So that's my
follow your journey and do the best you can in that job. Even if you quit, doing being a lawyer and became a sweeping the streets. You do that well.
That's right.
Do that well, and then the doors will still open up for you.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Leave the place better than you found it. I would say leave it better than you found it, because the world is small. As we see, the world is a small place, so you want to always protect, your reputation, and also do everything not for yourself but for others. You're leaving a legacy, and so my thing is you're doing this not just for you but for the legacy and for God, for me.
Okay, thank you. We're going to wind down now, and I want to say to Paige and Joe, you're always welcome here on Portsmouth Coffee Talk, especially with the work that you do, Joe, with your Joe Lee Hansley Foundation. Please keep us abreast of what's going on, or our audience abreast of what's going on. And Paige, you're always welcome too to share the knowledge you have with the legal knowledge that you have, and it might help people. And I wanted to say, Joe, probably want to connect you with the Colonel's brother, Michael, who, and you said you taking students to Virginia Tech. Michael came out of Virginia Tech as an engineer. He's retired from NASA now as an engineer, but he still is trying to encourage African-American students to go in the field of engineering. And he maybe you need to be on his email list. I guess they'll start back at some point. They kind of slowed up on some of the things they were doing there, but at Virginia Tech. But he always had, and I was on that email list, and he always had programs going there that was free to anybody. And the hardest thing he had was people to take advantage of. I mean, the bus trip up there was free, the lodging was free, and the education that they got. As far as engineering, he's also worked with the engineering department at NSU. So,
we definitely can change that, man. Because like with the relationships that I got with the schools, I don't think that would be a problem. Like we work hand in hand with the ROTC programs. And that's a big pool of young people. So between the ROTC and the guidance counselors, you get me on that list, and you let me. All you gotta do is let me know how many kids that's needing to go up, and I'm pretty sure we can get that filled. So I don't think that would be no more.
I'll pass your email on to Michael. Michael. So any other last comments from our hosts? And before
I just appreciate the both of you so very much. And I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep encouraging the children to apply for these scholarships, because we're just amazed that I know the Alumni Association, we give out scholarships, and we got to kind of pull teeth to get kids to apply for the scholarships. You see the same students applying for each of the scholarships. So you must encourage the students to apply for the scholarships and make them aware of how beneficial it's going to be. I know one young man who was a Norcom graduate who applied for every scholarship there was out there.
That's right.
That's
what
he now has a full ride to Norfolk State, and plus he has extra money on the side that he can use for other things that he may need, because
he's going to need it.
Whoever put it out there, he applied for it. So we have to encourage the young people to continue to apply for scholarships. And I love what the both of you are doing. I look forward to your coming back on and telling us about the great things that are taking place. And my little Sankofa babies, when they're old enough, I'm going to pass them on to you. Okay. I'm taking them younger now. I'm taking these younger babies, and I will pass my younger babies on to you once they get of age. But I just appreciate all that you're doing, and continue doing what you're doing. And Paige, you just take care of yourself. And Joe, what did I tell you the other night? Do what, Joe? Take care of Paige. Okay?
Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
and Leah, you're going younger. They never can be too young. Just change diapers and teach.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you all so very much. Thank you for coming on Portsmouth Coffee Talk. Colonel?
Thank you guys so much for having us.
Paige and Joe, thank you for coming on. And you know what? And got to have you back, because I tell you what, I could talk to y'all till the cows come home, but I know we got a finite time to talk. But y'all keep doing what you're doing and making a difference, and that's the key. We have to leave society better than what we found it. Yes, and that's what y'all are doing.
And this is on my Facebook page. And later tonight, it will be on YouTube, which means it's out there forever. Okay.
I love it. Thank y'all so much, man. I love and appreciate y'all. I know I said it in my opening, man, but I just appreciate and love Portsmouth for just adopting me. You know, small country boy, Hazelhurst, Georgia. I mean, I came here, man, and this city just overwhelmingly, man, the love. I'm just so grateful for it. I mean, I appreciate each and every one of y'all mentoring me, you know, loving on me, loving on the foundation, you know, inspiring me, motivating me, keeping me going. That means an absolute lot, because like I said, the road to success is always under construction. I mean, those combs that's going to be in the road is naysayers. You know what I mean? It's people so when I say to be around so much positivity, that means so much to me. And it keeps me going, you know, along with testimonies of young people that's really, you know, making life-changing experiences to be productive members of society in this community. What we want to do, and I know we winding down, but what we want to do is send a young person to Morgan State, but we want them to come back as a business major and start a business in Portsmouth. We want to send kids to Bennett, like we've done, but we want them to come back and be teachers here in Portsmouth. We want them to go out to Campbell, but we want them to come and be physicians, OBGYNs here in Portsmouth, you know, because we know that you're going to do it, because we're going to put the right people around you. We're going to love on you, but we don't want you to just go off and stay off. We want you to go off and come back and build in this community. You know, and that is very, very important, because what we're doing and what's started happening and what's trending is people leave Portsmouth, get educated elsewhere, and stay elsewhere instead of coming back to Portsmouth. So what we got to do as a community is show the young people that's leaving, they got something to come back to. You know, so that's just something I'm working on with business people that's within the community, as well as the different colleges. We want to give you a full scholarship to go off to this college, but we want you to come back and we want you to invest in this community. We want you to come and pay it forward back in this community. We want you to go back to where you graduated from, pull somebody else up that's doing or that's inspiring to do what it is that you want to do, and love on them and help them and let them know that it's not gonna be easy. You know, it's gonna be hard work, dedication, but you can do it because I'm a product of a single family home. Like we got a young lady that said VCU that's going to dental school. that was from a single family home. And man, like I can tell you exactly how it is that her resume was, but it was just a phenomenal resume of why she want to go to dental school and why she inspired to be able to do that. And that's what the young people got to know. Like they got to know what's inspiring them. So when they get to college or they get to that tech school and they come up with a hiccup because they don't pass this test or whatever the case may be, they got to find that it, right? That's going to motivate them to keep moving. I didn't know that I inspired a young person by saying it's a minor setback for a major comeback, right? But I had a young person that came back and said he failed a math test.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Joe?
Yeah, froze up.
I think he's frozen.
Froze there. But as we close up, he might come back. But I just wanted to say, make sure we support Portsmouth Coffee Talk. As the Colonel always says, we offer you something that you get nowhere else. We offer subjects, and we have guests that give expert knowledge in most cases, and we have fun as well often. And we need your support. No dollar amount is too small or too big. And if you want to support us, we have a Cash App, which is PTC 1220, or $ in front of that, PCT 1220, or you can do Zelle through your bank account, Portsmouth Coffee Talk at yahoo.com, or you can, you're still writing checks and using the U.S. mail, the snail mail I call, but if you're still using that, we have a post office box 7664, Portsmouth, Virginia 23707. So we solicit your donations, your support, but if not, continue to watch us as we will continue to bring you the information as it comes around. Twice a week, early in the morning and in the evening.
Paige and Joe is coming back on to say goodbye. They just text and say they're coming back on to say goodbye. Right. It hasn't connected yet, so.
Okay, but I'll tell you, it was funny. I guess go back and watch that video. I just did a video describing each of our rows. And just like you said, I said, Leah's going, everybody comes on, it's going to be some connection. And I said, the Colonel is going to connect every subject to the politics, which politics is connected to everything.
Yes.
But anyway, that was funny how that worked out.
It is.
Sorry about that. Technical difficulties.
Yes.
That's okay. We have them all the time.
Joe froze right in the middle of his final statement.
Right. So no. I was just saying, man, I'm grateful and I'm indebted to the city of Portsmouth, and love and appreciate each and every one of you guys. It really means a lot, the love that's been shown. That's what's needed to keep motivated and going forward. So I really, really appreciate that. And love each and every one of y'all and appreciate y'all so much.
Thank you so very much. We love you both as well.
Thank you guys so much for having us.
When I first met Joe, was instant friendship. And Joe, thanks for showing your appreciation to everybody that helped. He shows his appreciation by giving everybody a plaque of appreciation. So we appreciate that too. There's a lot of appreciation, but that's how we feel. Thanks a lot for what you do and recognizing us for being a part of what you do. We appreciate that. All right, that's it. And Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice,
our community,
and our future.
And our future. Where's your cup? Your cup is not, I guess it was in view. Okay. All right.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, guys. Thank you so very much.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Oh,
thank you.
Be careful.
Bye.
All right.
Okay, take care.